There's a serious critical issue in the world right now, and one that hasn't really changed as of yet. And I wanted to talk about it and tell you how I feel about it and what I think is going to happen. So first of all, throughout history, so much has evolved, okay? Political powers shift, presidents change, politicians change, narratives change, world leaders, they come and go. And we move through these cultural debates historically, left versus right, red versus blue, Christian versus Muslim, black and white. And, promises are made, some work out, some don't, some are rooted in truth, some aren't. And at the end of the day, our focus constantly shifts from one crisis and one narrative to the next. And things sometimes do change for the better, or sometimes for the worse. It always changes. But behind all these issues and all these narratives, some things remain unchanged and constant till this day, and they're critical issues. So first, central banks, okay? They keep debasing the currency, and our money continues to lose buying power and value every single year. And that same $1 bill keeps buying us less and less every single year. This is the first critical issue, the money. Second, the wealth gap continues to widen, okay? As much as we've had so many changes in the world, that has not changed. People are working more hours, more jobs, yet still falling further behind financially. And even though they're technically getting paid more, or it looks like you're getting richer on paper, you're not getting ahead. This financial struggle is really becoming common, and the truth is, just because it's common doesn't mean it's normal. And we're starting to see it normalize and become more common. The third point, wages aren't keeping up, okay? This is serious, it's affecting everybody in the world. Your income rises slowly, sure, over the years, maybe you get a raise, but at the end of the day, your money loses value even faster than that raise, okay? So wages aren't keeping up, and that's because currency debasement. In essence, your wealth is literally being stolen silently right in front of you. So while the world basically argues over, headlines and, all kinds of issues, different narratives we focus on, and we get caught up with, various headlines and the things that are changing, the truth is we're ignoring what hasn't changed. The most critical issue, and the real issue is the money. It's always been about the money, okay? It's always been about the money and about control. And sure, as I said, some of the changes we're seeing and that do happen, might be good. Some are good. Some of the promises about the changes we should expect or that we're hearing will definitely be helpful in the short term if they do manifest and become a reality. But what hasn't changed is the money. And this is what we should focus on, and really that should concern us the most. Because one thing that affects everyone directly, your ability to survive, your ability to live, earn, save, invest, your ability to build wealth and live comfortably, and the ability to take care of your family, all depends on the money. And it still hasn't been fixed. And to be honest, you have to be honest with yourself. And the way I feel is it's not going to be fixed anytime soon. And that's the point. We need to pay attention to what's not changing, not the things that are changing constantly, because that's where the real problem lives, basically. It's in the money, and it affects us directly. And it's basically what impacts us the most, more than anything else, more than the cultural wars, and debates. So inflation, currency debasement, and devaluation. This is killing people's standard of living, and it has for decades. And it really began to accelerate after the US went off the gold standard in 1971. And the truth is, over the past 5 years, especially, just within the last 5 years, since 2020, that has significantly gone into overdrive. Okay? It's accelerated more than ever. And not just in the US, but globally. And the thing is, it happens so gradually, over time, slowly. So the effects aren't noticeable right away. And they're not that obvious until later, a few years later. And that same trajectory, that path we're going on, is happening right now. I can see it in the patterns, in the macro factors. But first, we need to clear up some confusion around what these terms actually mean and basically establish a fundamental truth here so that it makes sense. Because there's huge misconception around devaluation, inflation, and currency debasement. And they're often interchangeably used, those terms, but they're pretty much a part of a broader sequence, and they happen in stages. So I'm going to explain that in this video. So in our economy, this plays out in stages like this. The central banks start currency devaluation, okay, deliberately devaluing the currency. Then inflation follows as a byproduct. And currency debasement, which we use that term a lot, is the final outcome. It's the final result that you get, okay? So basically, inflation is a result of currency devaluation, and then currency debasement is the final product. It's the end result. It's your money buying you less, okay? Now, we're actually watching this unfold in real time, right now, right in front of our eyes. So, if you want to make sense of what's happening right now in the world, geopolitically, economically, globally, and within the monetary system, where things are headed, and really how to protect yourself financially, protect your family, you need to understand currency devaluation and currency debasement on a fundamental level. Because the truth is, as pessimistic as it sounds, if you don't understand this stuff, you're going to face some serious financial challenges in the years ahead. So I'm going to break this down in simple terms and explain the relationship of how they're connected and what it means for you and your family and what I personally believe comes next. So we'll start off here. First, you need to understand that the value of money is constantly changing, okay? It's never stagnant. It's always changing over time. And how does it change over time? The value of money only goes down over time. And I'll explain this simply. Your currency steadily loses buying power over time, meaning it buys you less and less in the real world. Now, why is this important to understand? It's important because most people are actually taught to believe that when prices of, let's say, goods, cars, groceries, rent, services, when prices of those things go up, people are taught to think it's because those things are actually getting more expensive. But that's not the case. That's inaccurate. It's an inaccurate way to look at it, because you see, what's actually happening is the value of your money is declining and dying, meaning it buys you less over time, and in the real world you get less with that same amount of money you had. That's why you see prices higher. It's actually the value of your money declining. It's not the price of the item going up, even though that's what we see. And if you think for 1 second that your government will tell you ahead of time the truth about the monetary system collapsing in slow motion or a dying fiat currency, just think again. They will never tell you.